Welcome to this episode of the story. Subscribe as soon as possible. Chapter 18. The Blood Oath in the Bronze Mirror. When Cassandra dug her fingernails deep into her palms, the walls of Troy were groaning behind her like bones cracking. The edge of the bronze mirror in her arms cut through the woolen cloak, and the mirror's surface reflected the sky, high fire behind her. The torches of the Greek coalition forces were devouring her hometown, and she had just handed the memory core inside the Trojan horse to Odysseus with her own hands. The princess has made a wise choice. Odysseus' bronze helmet was stained with fresh blood. The soldiers behind him were putting the memory core into a gem-inlaid wooden box. Athena will remember your loyalty. Cassandra didn't turn around. She could smell the mixed scent of olive oil and charred corpses in the air, and there was also a more pungent smell, similar to molten bronze. The unique aroma when the memory core was activated. 3 days ago, when the priestess of Athena stuffed this mirror into her hands in the temple basement, a string of twinkling cuneiform characters had emerged on the mirror's surface. The priestess said it was the oracle to purify the memories of Troy. At this moment, the mirror surface suddenly grew hot, as if it had just been taken out of the furnace. Cassandra instinctively held it tighter, and Odysseus, reflected in the mirror, suddenly distorted into another appearance. His armor peeled off, revealing a chest full of gears. In the place where the heart should have been, there was an emerald green crystal embedded, and countless tiny figures were floating in the crystal, like insects sealed in amber. "Don't look." Odysseus' voice suddenly became shrill, and his spear stabbed at the mirror surface. Cassandra staggered to avoid it, and the mirror grazed the nearby stone pillar, cracking a spider web like fissure. Viscous white mist gushed out from the crack, and countless tiny wails came from the mist, as if children with their mouths covered were struggling. She fell to the ground and her cloak spread out, revealing the brand on her ankle, the star chart mark branded by the priest at her birth. At this moment, it was getting hot along with the vibration of the mirror. Memories suddenly rushed into her mind like a burst dam. When she was 10 years old, she overheard a conversation between her father and a strange priest. They said, "The memories of Troy must be harvested." At the sacrifice ceremony when she was 15, she saw countless bronze jars piled up in the hidden door under the altar. The mist seeping from the jar mouths could make the insane slaves docile. In the secret room of the temple of Athena 3 days ago, she accidentally knocked over the priest's scroll and saw a mark on it identical to the one on her ankle, with the words, "The 37th container of the Eye of Osiris," written beside it. So you know everything. Odysseus' armor had completely cracked, and the mechanical bones exposed were engraved with symbols she couldn't understand. His eyes turned into two balls of flickering green fire. Athena was right. You are indeed the perfect container. Cassandra suddenly remembered the small cloth bag her mother had stuffed into her before her death. She tremblingly untied the string, and a half piece of pottery engraved with a star chart fell out. On the back of the pottery, a line of words was written in blood. "The mirror is the key and the chain." Her mother's voice seemed to ring in her ears. "Don't trust those in white robes. What they want is not Troy's submission, but our memories." The white mist grew thicker, and Cassandra saw the phantom of the city of Troy emerging in the mist, the complete city walls, the playing children, and her father brewing wine. But the phantom soon distorted. The city walls turned into cages, the children's smiling faces became crying masks, and what flowed out of her father's wine barrel was red memory mucus. She suddenly understood what the tributes sent to Greece were. They were Trojans whose memories had been extracted. They were sent far away like empty shells, becoming containers for others. Your younger brother will also be an excellent container. Odysseus' mechanical arm suddenly grabbed her wrist. His fingertips pierced her skin, and the green light spread along the wound. His memory is purer than yours and more suitable for carrying the will of Athena. Younger brother. Cassandra suddenly struggled violently. 3 days ago, her young brother was among the peace delegation sent to Greece. Her father said it was to show sincerity. She remembered the amulet hanging around her brother's neck when they parted. It was braided by their mother with her hair. Now that she thought about it, there was probably a mark like the one on her ankle hidden inside. The crack in the mirror surface suddenly widened, revealing the interlayer behind it. It was not bronze, but some kind of metal that glistened with silver light, engraved with a dense star chart. In the center of the star chart, there was an eye-like symbol, surrounded by 12 small circles. One of the circles had already lit up red, like an opened eye. The Eye of Osiris, Cassandra murmured to herself. The word echoed deep in her memory. She remembered that the priests always mentioned this name in their prayers. They said it was the divine punishment to purify impure memories. But at this moment, she suddenly understood that it was not divine punishment at all, but a tool for harvesting memories. The memories of those Trojans sent to Greece were all stored in this eye, becoming nourishment for some existence. The green fire eyes of the mechanical Odysseus suddenly flickered. He looked at the burning Troy in the distance and let out a laugh similar to the jamming of gears. Look, what a perfect memory furnace. Fear, sadness, despair. These are all the purest energy. His mechanical arm pointed at the collapsing royal palace. Your father was very cooperative. He exchanged the memories of the whole city for his eternal life. Now his consciousness is stored in Athena's crystal, becoming a jailer to guard other memories. Cassandra dug her fingernails deeper into her palms, and blood dripped onto the pottery shard. The pottery shard suddenly emitted golden light, resonating with the brand on her ankle. She saw countless memory fragments flashing before her eyes. The scene of Atlantis sinking into the sea, people in white robes harvesting the memories of survivors with memory scythes. In the secret room under the Egyptian pyramids, the memories of pharaohs being made into eternal fuel. In a forgotten temple, countless containers like her were hung on the walls, with green crystals like Odysseus embedded in their eyes. You are not the messengers of the gods. Cassandra stood up and picked up a fragment of the bronze mirror. You are thieves of memories. She suddenly remembered the ancient incantation her mother had taught her, the most primitive prayer of Troy. The priest said it was the forgotten noise. She took a deep breath and pronounced those awkward syllables with her blood-stained lips. The crack in the mirror surface suddenly let out a piercing shriek, and the wails in the mist turned into orderly chanting. The figures sealed in the crystal began to hit the container walls, and the green light gradually dimmed. Odysseus let out a painful roar. His mechanical body began to rust, and the gears fell off one by one. Impossible. How could a container resist? Athena won't let you go. All containers will eventually return to the star chart. Cassandra pressed the pottery shard against the crack in the mirror surface. The pottery shard fit the mirror surface perfectly, and the white mist in the crack suddenly poured back, forming a rotating whirlpool. She saw countless pairs of eyes staring at her deep in the whirlpool. The ancestors of Troy, other civilizations whose memories had been harvested, and countless containers of the Eye of Osiris like her. We will remember, she said softly to the whirlpool, and then threw the bronze mirror into the nearby fire. The mirror burst into flames, and countless tiny light spots rose into the air, like fireflies being set free. She knew those were the liberated memory fragments. They would drift like seeds, and one day they would take root and sprout somewhere. The shouts of Greek soldiers came from the distance. Cassandra tore off the badge on her cloak, the symbol of the Trojan princess, and then tightly clenched her mother's pottery shard in her palm. She ran in the opposite direction of the Greek coalition forces. The brand on her ankle was still hot, but this time, it was no longer a painful burn, but a kind of resonating warmth. As she ran through the burning streets and alleys, she saw a familiar figure crawling out of the ruins. It was her younger brother's attendant. His left arm was missing, and strange silver substances were congealed at the wound. Princess. Run, they're looking for you. They say you're a defecting container. Cassandra helped him up and noticed the amulet of her younger brother hanging around his neck. The rope of the amulet was broken, and what was revealed inside was not hair, but half a star chart. Where's my younger brother? The attendant's eyes suddenly went blank, and his lips opened and closed mechanically. Container has been retrieved. Memory purity 97%. Meets Athena's standards. A glint of green light flashed in his eyes, and then he twitched violently. Go. Don't trust anyone, especially those who say they'll protect you. When he fell, the half piece of star chart in his hand dropped to the ground and fit together with Cassandra's pottery shard, forming a complete star chart. The eye symbol in the center of the star chart suddenly opened, shooting out a beam of light straight into the sky. Cassandra looked up. The stars in the night sky were rearranging, forming a huge gear pattern. The sound of the gear turning came from the distant sky, like some giant machine starting up. She suddenly understood the truth of this war. Troy was not conquered by the Greeks, but harvested. Athena was not a god, but a reaper of some advanced civilization. And she, Cassandra, this so-called Eye of Osiris, was just a coordinate they used to locate memories. Neat footsteps came from behind. Cassandra picked up the spear on the ground and turned to face those in white robes. They were not Greek soldiers, but the priests she had seen in the temple of Athena 3 days ago. Under their white robes, mechanical parts similar to Odysseus were revealed, and green glowing crystals were embedded at the tops of their scepters. Container No. 37, give up resistance. The leading priest's voice was emotionless. Your memory will bring eternal glory to Athena. Cassandra tightened her grip on the spear. The brand on her ankle was so hot that it seemed to be on fire. She looked at the burning city of Troy in the distance, at the body of the attendant on the ground, and at the complete star chart in her hand. She suddenly laughed. Her mother was right. The mirror was the key and the chain. But now she knew that the key and the chain were actually the same thing. She raised the spear towards the sky, and the light of the star chart flowed in her eyes. The voices of the Trojans sealed in her memories resonated in her body, and the wails of the harvested civilizations converged into strength. She was no longer Cassandra, no longer a princess, nor Container No. 37. She was the collection of all stolen memories, the cry of all souls unwilling to be forgotten. When the scepters of the priests shot out green light, Cassandra leaped into the nearby wall of fire. The flames did not burn her, but wrapped around her like water. The light spots that had flown out from the crack in the mirror before all merged into her body. The last thing she saw was the eye symbol in the center of the star chart starting to shed tears. What flowed out was not water, but blood as red as the one in her palm. Then everything fell into darkness, leaving only the sound of the gears turning, echoing round and round in the eternal silence. This episode ends here. The next episode will be even more exciting. Come and subscribe.